You're such an asshole.
This is a very good first paragraph. Hi, Aaron, return customer here. You helped me through a substantial problem with my moron of an ex-boss a few years back. I implemented your advice and not only got him fired, but I received a promotion in the process. All right. Take down those boomer bosses, man. Absolutely. Cap, you don't know he was a boomer boss. You're right. Age-wise, we don't. But if you're an incompetent boss, you're a boomer boss. I don't care if you're taken down. If you're a boomer boss, regardless of your age, I hope you get taken down. I hope you young look. This isn't part of this guy's request. Let me give some advice to the Zoomers and the alphas out there. Okay, if I were to do things differently because you were young and you have nothing to lose, if your boss engages in any, you know what? This is its own. This is its own. Hang on. Report your boss. I wish I did this more. Just take them the fuck down. If they're doing some illegal shit or questionable shit, report them to the government agencies. Absolutely. You get fired. Oh, well, what? You were going to give me some kind of like legit deal anyway? Or we're going to sue you for defamation. For what? I got nothing. Okay, go ahead. Okay, here's my crappy car. Bye. I would have been way more counter abusive to my boss. I would have absolutely you're going to knock this shit off and you're going to pay me a lot of money or I'm going right to the fucking feds. I will make your life a fucking hell. Take them outside so nothing's recorded. And that's how it's going to be. And if you give me the slightest bit of fucking shit, I will report your ass to the fucking state, government, whatever. And I got to be doing something illegal and wrong. But it's a front. It's all bluffing. And yeah, there's a chance you'll lose your job, but you weren't going to have a great job anyway. So I'm glad that worked out. Glad you got rid of one of the bad bosses and now he kind of took his position. Accordingly, I thought I'd reach out to you again for a new issue I'm having. Please keep my name and location anonymous. I live in a leftist crap hole, Minneapolis, and bought a house here a while ago. As you know, this was before the government inflated the dollar to the point of financially crippling entire swaths of them. The government did not. The American people voted in money printer go burr, especially the younger people did, because free money. And now you young people can't afford housing. Isn't that interesting? But you know everything because you have a college degree. I'm not talking to the client. I'm talking to all the young Democrat kids who know better. Tires as a swaths of Americans was the only appropriate response to the disease. I bought the house because I was able to get it for an insanely good price. My mortgage rate was under 2.5% as a first-time home buyer with good credit. What's good credit? Don't we just get free houses? And the neighborhood was in an up-and-coming area. However, since that time, my property taxes have gone up 76%. Now, I could have sworn, if you've been following me for a while, I could have sworn I have made it abundantly clear on many times you do not buy property in Minneapolis or St. Paul because you do not own your property. You are merely a property manager for the city of Minneapolis and the city of St. Paul. You're to manage that property for the city, for the state. Heaven help you if you're a landlord, it's a rental property. And you are to pay taxes, your HOA fee, whatever it is, to rent that property from the city. I was at my first house in Minneapolis. My property taxes in 7 years went up 400%. How do you like that? It's too late for you, but this is the importance for all you young people out there. You don't buy property in Democrat shitholes. That's it. It's not because I hate the Democrats. It's because I hate the Democrats and their policies are basically you rent from the city. All of you are renters. All of you. You all rent from the city. You do not own your property. But that's water on the bridge. You bought property. Now we got to get you out of this mess. My home insurance rate doubled. The neighborhood has not been able to rid itself of the same welfare deadbeats that lived there when I bought the house. I don't blame them. No, Minnesota loves paying people not to work. Those Minnesotans just love that, hate themselves so much. And I want to let you Minnesotans know, you're not a good Minnesotan unless you vote DFL/Democrat and you pay for other people to live off of you. If you are not willingly a host to parasites, you're a fascist. You are a fascist. The Minnesota way is you get the jaws of death from the fire department. Why the jaws of death? So you can spread your asshole so far wide, everyone can stick their dick in you. And you say, yes, oh yeah, don't you know me? I have another now, pay more taxes, yeah. I mean, really, they got a gag ball and they got the jaws of death behind them. And they're just like, why aren't you doing this, you fascist? That's Minnesotans. There you go. I just described all of Minnesota for you. Anyway, continuing on. Here's my question. I'm a youngish man working at a reliable government job. We won't say where, we won't say which. We'll say government job. Then I am lucky, not at risk of losing no matter what neither Trump nor our next governor may do. However, because it is a government job, it does not pay especially well. You make a good salary. It's not super enough. It's enough for you to live. And I doubt my cost of living raise for this year will be anything more than 3%. Not only do I feel I'm being priced out of my hometown, you are. You're not. You don't feel you are being priced out of your hometown. You are. Or being priced out of your own home. I'm like, were you born and raised in Minneapolis? You are being priced out of your home. And you listen to me. You do not, that's not your home. You have the managerial rights to your home. You could sell those managerial rights to somebody else to manage the property on the behalf of the city of Minneapolis. I'm also worried that if I don't sell it now, I will never be able to keep up with the eternal rising cost of home ownership. However, I have also heard horror stories of being a long-term renter in the city. And while I would certainly make profit from selling my house now, the equity I'd like to receive would not be nearly enough to cover the cost of buying another property in the metro area, which I'm forced to do since my job requires me. You have to show up to the office. I also don't want to leave my job because of how stable it is and because all my colleagues and supervisors are terrific. Well, that's good. I'm glad you got a good government job. That's rare, but it's good. If you could please let me know your thoughts, I would really appreciate it, as you are the only person I know who will tell people the truth even when it hurts and who also despises Minneapolis with the same burning passion as me. Get it? Minneapolis and burning? Laugh out. And that's clever what you did there. And I guarantee you, sir, you do not hate Minneapolis more than I do. You do not. I can guarantee you don't. Thanks for everything you do and take care. All right, so here's what you did, man. Cappy, I married the wrong woman. What do I do? There's no way out of this without pain. All right? The lesson is for other people. Do not buy properties in Democrat shitholes. That's it. It really is like my wife is insufferable, but I love my kids. The city I live in is insufferable, but I love my job. So then I ask, any way you could get another job outside of the city, within your same state agency or government agency, and then you could continue with the pension. And then, do you have any certain amount of time you have left to work in order to collect the pension? Great questions. Yes, I'm fully vested in my pension. All right. So you can leave and you get your pension. It's not like, oh, you got to stick around for another 10 years or whatever. However, none of the surrounding cities or states have roles or jobs comparable to what I do. My job allows me opportunity. So you can't even leave the cities. You got to stay in the metro area. My job allows me opportunities each year's. You got a very interesting job. I don't want to identify it. In addition, I would not be able to afford. You have things. Okay, we'll just leave that. All right. Okay, here's the only thing I could come up with. You're going to have to be me for the 20 years I was me in the Twin Cities. You're going to need to minimize. You don't. let's start thinking retirement planning, right? Thank God you don't have kids. Thank God, right? So this allows you to think long term, cash in or secure your capital gains on the house you have now. Take that money and earmark it for now, whatever, put it into an inflation adjusted savings account, some to maintain its purchasing power. But what I'm going to recommend you do is first you find the cheapest but safest place where you can live. I lived off of Raymond and Como. Now, of course, this is 1994. I paid $175 a month for a room. That's what I'm thinking you do, man. You find the cheapest place you can rent. So first you got to minimize. You got to get rid of all the shit you don't need, right? Maybe, I don't know if your parents are still alive, and maybe there's some mementos you really want to keep, but there ain't no room for it. Ask your parents if you can humbly drop it off in the attic or something, right? Scale down so you could just afford a room. This is your punishment for buying a house in a Democrat town. This is what happens when you make a deal with the parasites. And they are parasites, right? They keep jacking up, right? Are the road, by the way, if you were wondering, Cappy, 7 years at 400%. Were the roads 400% better? No, they were not. But they employed a bunch of worthless cronies at the city level when I lived in Minneapolis. Oh, and there was a piece of art that cost $70,000. It was just a cube. It's on the north east side of Lake Harriet. Somebody had a connection and enriched their talent list artist buddy. That's where your money goes, just like USAID, except it's on the municipal level. So you own a liability, not an asset, that you could thankfully get some kind of money for now by selling your managerial rights to that property. So first thing, get rid of everything you don't need. I'm not saying throw everything away, but I would say, all right, I am going to take the stuff I want to keep later on, put it with my folks. I'm going to liquidate the house, take the money, park it into a fund that I'll use later to buy a piece of property elsewhere, which we'll get to. And then I'm going to find the cheapest place possible. And that's going to be your first step, is go and do some research. Now, I don't know where you work, but I know like over in St. Paul, you could, like those boats, you can maybe rent a boat on the Mississippi. You got to become creative. Maybe just rent a room, find a buddy you trust. Hey, buddy, can I rent this room from you? And legit, you got your car, you got your backpack, and maybe, a large backpack of clothes, and that's it. And now you wander in the cold, snowy, slush-filled desert of Minneapolis, and all you do is work, man. All you do is work. Right? I mean, you go have fun. I don't know. Are there fun places allowed in the Twin Cities anymore? I don't know. And then that way, if you do it right, your annual living expenses should be less than owning that home. You should be able to find a room that's pretty safe. The best route, I think, is go find a friend who's willing to rent a room, and just be prepared that you're going to be moving every 2 years or so. If you can find, talk to commercial buildings. You say, hey, is there like a bathroom and a living quarter? I mean, really get creative. Like immigrants, they'd open up an Asian restaurant and they'd sleep in the restaurant, even though you're not supposed to, because it's not zoned for residential. We're talking one level above homeless, one level of you getting a tent. Somewhere in that town of 3 million self-loathing people should be a room that is clean, relatively quiet, and safe. And that's what I would do. See if you can rent someone's space, anything. Go. That's your main job right now. Ideally, you find it before you put your house on the market this upcoming spring, right? I got a realtor. If you want, I can hook you up with him. And so you liquidate your home, grab your backpack. It should be that easy, right? Should be that easy. Wait for your house to sell. Move into your friend Bob's room. Be quiet. Don't annoy him. And you're just going to focus on work, and your goal is going to be your forever place, your retirement. And so once you find a place to rent and you minimize your stuff, and then you find a place to live that's dirt cheap, your next step then is say, okay, where do I park my money? Where do I want to live? And I keep telling you all this is very, very, very important for young people. Go and travel, not to get dicked down by Italian guys, ladies. That's not what I'm talking about. Travel. You're going shopping to find the place where you belong. This is why I wrote the book Reconnaissance Man. I don't know if you've done any reconnaissance or know where you'd like to live, but it sure the hell ain't going to be Minnesota. And so instead of waiting for property prices to inflate up with money printer go burr, a very important, almost you take every weekend off and you do this, is you go and you reconnoiter the United States or where you'd like to live. And when you find your happy place, it might take a while. All right. And hopefully whatever you park your money in would keep up with housing inflation. I mean, you could look into investing in a real estate. I'm not advising that. I'm giving you options. It's up to you. Talk to a financial advisor. I'm just giving you options. You travel the country, you figure out where you want to live, you find out where you want to live, not today, not tomorrow, not even in 5 years, but in 10 to 20 years. And then you go and you buy the property, right? So reconnoiter, find out where you want to live. Like, oh my God, I always want to live outside Kansas City. You find your piece of land. Maybe it's going to be hard. You don't want to buy another home because now you got to maintain it. You find your piece of land, you buy it out there, and then you keep doing what you're doing until you're done working. You got enough money saved up. By that time, you should have some money accumulated. You could build a home. All right. And then you, put in your last day at the job, you take your proceeds, you build your home, and I'm not kidding. If you find a room just to rent, I know rent is expensive. You should be able to find a cheap place you should be able to figure it out. You should be able to find an agreement with someone. And then you're done. You're done and you leave, you build your whatever, your bachelor hut. And that could be 10 years from now. That could be 20 years from now. Maybe you find a great piece of property with a house already on it and you have trustworthy tenants, or you have your parents live there, or whatever it is. I'm not saying you just have to buy a piece of land because that indicates you're going to have to build a home later. I'm just trying to figure out how to get your investment out of the Twin Cities before it's whittled away with taxes and insurance and it makes you poor and you can't afford it anymore, to a place where they aren't going to get the jaws of death and, in a very Minnesota tradition, spread your ass cheeks wide. Right. And go to a place where they don't put a ball gag in your mouth like, I'm a good Minnesota man. And then you do this on your way out. You get your money, you get that. That's it. That's it. I understand that you really like your job. I get it. But I would still try to find another job that is the same you do, or within the government level that you're at, or the department or whatever. So you could continue pension or whatever seniority. I don't know. You could get your health insurance or whatever. And it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. Dude, it took me until I was what? 44, 45, 46 to get out of the Twin Cities. It's the problem when you plant roots in bad soil. It's bad soil, but you still have roots and you still got to get out. This is how you achieve the escape velocity and get out of there. And that's what I would do. You may want to look at condos because those are they maintain themselves, sort of. You go find out what town you want to live in, buy a condo, maybe you can rent it out. But the overall point is sell your property in the Twin Cities now, take the money, park it in something that will at least keep up with inflation. And then you got a job, man. You're out every week, every weekend, finding out where you want to live. And then when you find it, buy property, whatever, transfer your investment out of I don't know what to call it, the money losing proposition that the Twin Cities are, and put it where you can actually afford to live. And then you may not live there for 10 years, depending on how long you want to work at your current job. But that's that. So I don't know. You can rent out rooms. See, that's what I'm hoping is they got all these commercial buildings up for sale and they're going to convert them to apartments and living. That should take some pressure off of living expenses. But knowing the cities, they're going to make it as hard as California is going to make it to rebuild in LA after the fire. It's just going to take forever. Find some. I had a buddy, more modernly, was renting a room for $500 a month. You know what? He had a good life. He had a good time. So the happiest days of his life, he just, it was simple. He went to bed, he fell asleep, then he went out and he enjoyed life, with some people. Your job, I mean, it really is going to be kind of a monk type of lifestyle or a monastic lifestyle, as they say. You're sleeping, you get up, you go to work, and then you leave to go find property elsewhere. But yeah, take that one blessing you got out of the Twin Cities. That is the equity you have in your home. Cash in the gains, keep your powder dry, and in fear of losing out to inflation and property inflation, you have to find a place relatively quickly. And if you don't know where to start, I recommend taking a look at Reconnaissance Man because I whittled down a country to a handful of areas. And that should expedite your research. That's it. That's all I got. Boomer Bob, PMC, CPC, MBA, $2 cap. You got to go downtown where all the action is. Dude, there's nothing. Minneapolis is St. Paul or Detroit now. It's not as bad as Detroit, but there's no reason to go downtown. There isn't anything downtown. There is no culture downtown. Boomer Bob, $5. He needs an MBA to make real money. That sheepskin gets your foot in the door, then arrive an hour early and leave an hour late. He'll be at 6 figs. And then Boo Boo, our Manila agent in the field for 50 Philippine pesos, almost 1 year since your failed Asian experiment. Yeah, it's coming up on that, isn't it? I'm doing my taxes. I got all the receipts. I'm like, oh, shit. I remember this. Thanks for all the help again, Boo Boo. I'll never forget. All right, there you guys go. Link below is Bachelor Pad Economics. If you want to escape a Democrat leftist shithole, like literally because adult Democrats shit there, they do. It's not the Republicans crapping in the streets. It's Democrats. Oh, think of all those single men, ladies, that you could take care of because they don't know not to poop in the street. Only you women can save them. Liberal woman to the rescue. All those single men in Minneapolis. If you want to figure out how to escape that hellhole, go get the book Reconnaissance Man. I don't have it linked below. You can find it on Amazon. That's it. See you guys later. Toodles.